channel. Today I bring you the review of a book that I loved. So, this is gonna be in the wrap-up as well, but I really wanted to talk about this book because I loved it and I want to take my time to pay my dues to it. And to surprise of nobody, it's a Sarah J. Maas book, and the book I'm talking about is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. It's the first book in her new series that came out earlier this year, the Crescent City series. For a long time I actually thought Crescent City was the name of the book. It is not. Anyway, and yeah, I fell in love to surprise of absolutely nobody. So yeah, I don't really know where to start with the book, but I suppose the beginning is a good place, and that will be what the book is about. So this is different than the other series that Maas has written because, for one, it's an adult book and she has written young adult the other books, so it's a lot different in the writing style. I actually think that it works a lot better with her writing style and the story. And the other thing is that this series, it's in mostly our own time, I could say. It's very modern, it has a lot of technology that meets magic, and that's pretty interesting to see and to get around. And we follow Bryce, who is this half fae, half human girl, and you know, that's not very well seen in this world where the supremacy belongs to the Vanir, they call, you know, all the supernaturals. You have fae, you have witches, you have shifters, you have angels, and the supremacy is for any of them, and the humans are in the lowest of the lowest and they are despised. So you know, being a half fae, half human is not the best position. And you also have a bunch of other characters that go from Vanir to humans, and there is this huge mystery, something that happens right at the beginning that it's the driving force of the book, and I'm not gonna say more because it would be a huge spoiler. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the power dynamic. Oh, and you have these huge beings that are kind of like the gods that ruled everything, and they are the Asteri, and they command the power of a star, which I think it's pretty darn interesting and cool. But yeah, so that's kind of like the power hierarchy that we have going on, and it's just a pretty interesting world. The whole magic meets technology thing, it's very well played, and it's not like, you know, you have urban fantasy where like the magical part of the world, it's like secret and nobody can know, and you know, technology and magic doesn't mix and all this. But in this world, the technology and the magic are going very hand in hand, and it mixes, and it's not like this huge secret or anything like that. So it's very interesting to see how it all interacts and how it builds this world that Maas created. I will admit that the whole thing lost me a lot. I don't know, I had a lot more trouble to grasp my mind around this whole mixing thing and, you know, everything than I did with a purely magical setting. But that's just me, and that's just how my brain works. But it's really interesting, and it's cool too because you can see things like phones that make life so much easier, and a lot of other very helpful things. And it also shapes a lot of how the other characters are dealing with the stuff, because you also have these beings that are like hundreds of years old, and obviously they have seen a world where technology wasn't so much of a thing, and now the technology is a thing. So it's pretty interesting to see all of it, and the story, it's so beautiful. When I went into the book, I was already warned a couple times that it was gonna break my heart a lot, and that the ending, it was gonna be so intense, which it was. But I think the whole book was so beautiful because Maas didn't left a lot in the air, and she wasn't building up for a series and just building the world for the next book to come and complete stuff, but she was building a world in this one book, and she really made it count and made everything count, and it tells a story so cohesively that it's beautiful to see. And you have the beginning, it's you will start to get the grasp of the world and everything that is going on, and it's a very powerful start. It sets things that everything that goes on through the whole book, and it's just so well done and so powerful as a beginning of a series, a beginning of a book, that you almost never see a beginning like that in almost nothing, if it's not like the last book of a series or like right in the middle. But as first book, and you don't usually see something like that, and it's so interesting, and it just goes developing everything so well, and you dig and it's kind of a mystery that it's going on, so you have to find the clues, and you are like all the time thinking, how did this happen, and looking for the clues, which I love because I think it's interesting. But it's also a lot of character development that is going on there, and world development, and just the stage for the rest of the series, that it's been very subtly developed and built up, and it's such vibrant and interactive kind of world, and you have all these pieces that are coming from all these sides, and you have major conflicts going on in the middle of all of this, and you have a very well established goal that you are working towards, and you also have all this history that you are discovering. So it's so much happening all the time, but at the same time we are focusing so much in the internal development of things as well, and it's just very interesting and very gripping. It's almost impossible to put the book down because it's just so good that you need to keep reading to see what's gonna happen next. Even when things kind of mellow down, there's always something else going on, and it deals a lot with the human nature, saying it like that, and how the brain works. And Maas has a very beautiful way of building characters that feel very realistic, very human, very complex, and with different layers and with different motivations that are maybe not so easily seen at first sight. And I love how you go discovering all these little details and all these little layers, and you get a better picture of the character of the person, and they feel so real, just like I could find them anywhere, because a person has many different motivations that are maybe not so easily seen all the time, and she just creates these characters, and it's literal with them. You don't see a character that it's just there sitting because you need them to be there, like to fill space, but they all have a lot of history going on for them, and it's very interesting to see it fleshing out slowly and piecing everything together, and it's just really beautiful. I love the characters, and something that I always like about Maas's protagonist, I'm gonna say the MC, the main characters, is that I usually hate them at the beginning, and I find them so annoying at the beginning, and then I start to get to know them better, know their motivations, and they become a lot better, and it's just so nice to see that development happening in all the characters, and I love that. I truly love that. You also have all these beautiful platonic relationships, and I love that she took a lot of time to flesh out these platonic relationships, way more than maybe the romantic one. Yes, there is the main romantic one that it's very well fleshed out, and we'll get into that in a minute, but the platonic ones are so beautiful and so important that I just can't help but love them. You have friendships, you have siblings relationships, and let me tell you that brother-sister relationships are very underrated and almost never really well developed in series. They are always very superficial, but this one goes so beautifully deep, and as a girl that has a brother, I can really appreciate that, and I love it. And there are all these other friendships, but I think the main love story, the main relationship in the book, it's the one between two friends, Danica and Bryce, and it's just so beautiful. It stole my breath. It made my heart break and be remade and be glowing with happiness and with love and with beauty, because it was just such a beautiful and wholesome and just tender relationship. And I love that it's so well highlighted, because usually we give a lot more of importance to the romantic relationships. And yes, there are beautiful romantic relationships going on, and obviously we have the main one, which is so wholesome, and I don't think I can say very much else, because they are so wholesome and so cute and so badass together. It's just, they are awesome. Like going out and slaughtering everything awesome and cool. And I really ship them. I think they are perfect for each other, and I love how it goes developing, because they both have a lot of issues, and we know Maas loves to make her love interest with a lot of issues behind them. So yeah, they both have a lot of issues that they need to work over and just heal and move forward, and they kind of help each other a little bit on that area and understand each other, which is probably the most important thing in a relationship. And I really loved it, even though at times the time frame of it all felt weird, because honestly in the book a couple months happened, but it's kind of hard to gauge how much time has passed until like the end. So for me it felt a little fast a lot of the time, even though it really wasn't. But it just felt kind of weird. I felt like I was in a time warp and in outer space and in like an interstellar kind of thing. So I love it, but at the same time I felt kind of awkward about it, and it's a weird feeling, because usually I'm either really invested or really out of it, and this time I really love it, but at the same time sometimes I felt just off to me. But I do think they are very well suited for each other. Another thing I truly love about Maas's writing, and that it's showcased beautifully in this book, is how she grabs these tropes that are common and very well loved and very famous that we see in many fantasy books, and she gives them her own twist and makes them her own, and it was so interesting to see. I won't say that I did not see it coming, because at this point I'm well versed on Maas's writing and I know how to pick the little clues. So yes, I did see them coming, but that didn't take away from the beauty of it all and how truly gratifying it felt at the end, because it also played into something that I truly love. I won't say what it is because spoilers and we don't want those here, but I did really love how it all ended up working, which brings me to my crazy theories, because I had like a couple of crazy theories that I'm like, there is no chance I'm gonna be right, but I'm gonna put it out there because why not? And at the end they ended up panning out, and nobody was more surprised than me, and I also felt so great because I figured it out like from the beginning of the book. But honestly it was crazy because it's pretty mind-boggling and it's awesome what she did. It's so clever. I can't stop being amazed by it, because even though I had the thought and the theory, the way that she came about to putting it out, doing it was so clever, and I love it, especially because Maas never pulls something out of nowhere and you just like, okay, so this word can do this now, but she always leaves you the clues that things can happen and will probably happen. And she did that from the very beginning, as she always does, and I love it because it felt so perfectly and it fits so perfectly that I can't help but always be so amazed by it. I love the book. It stole my breath away. The last 100 pages broke my heart, I won't say that I was crying through the whole book, but at the end I definitely cried a lot because it was beautiful and it deserved all the praise that it gets. And I just love this new world that Maas created. I think it's gonna be very fun to write it, and I can already see the heartache that I'm gonna be up for, because I have theories for the next book that are gonna break my heart and that I will much better not see come to be, because yeah, I want to save myself the heartache. Yeah, so that's my little rant. I think this video it's gonna be long enough as it is, so I'm wrapping it up. So if you like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me in the comments if you have read House of Earth and Blood and what you thought about it, so we can chat about it, and I will love to see your thoughts about it, and I see you next week. Bye!